a lot of athletes, especially in individual skills, they have a tendency at yellow light. If it's not going to be perfect, I avoid it.
Hmm.
And that is usually the biggest limiter I see in cheer.
Welcome to episode number 3 of the Here for Cheer podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're so grateful for your support of our first 2 episodes. Again, as always, make sure you subscribe and like and share and let us know what you think of these because we really want to bring value to your life and to your world and your cheer world. Today's episode is so special to me personally. I have the incredible Jeff Benson here. He is the best-selling author of Unblocked, The Walls Come Tumbling Down. He is also the owner and founder of Mind Body Cheer, which specializes in not only mental block training, performance anxiety, building intentional culture within your program, but also just leadership and being a great person and a great leader within our industry. So he has personally challenged me on several occasions to become a better gym owner, coach, mom. Most importantly, I think is the most thing that's meaningful. And I truly believe that I've been able to support my children better, 1,000 times better because of the things that Jeff has taught me along the way. So I'm super grateful to have him here. He inspires all of us to be the best person we can be. And yeah, Jeff Benson, welcome
Hi,
to the
everybody.
show.
Yay. I'm so,
Yay.
so happy to be here. So proud of you. This is amazing.
Thank
We've
you.
known each
Thank you.
other a
Thank you.
long time.
I know we've known each other for a very long time. So, can you tell us all kind of how you wrote your first book? What
Oh,
inspired
gosh.
you, motivated you? How did you get involved in cheerleading in this industry? And then what made you want to kind of to offer that to the cheer world?
Okay. So we're going to have to start back at the beginning. Let me
Yes.
know, like, give me a little clue if I need to wrap it up. Okay.
No.
I started as a little queer kid last century in the 80s, growing up different, made fun of, teased, but was just uniquely Jeff, I guess. Um, so I was that kid on the sidelines looking at cheerleaders at my private school, flipping, Pam Halverson was her name, flipping down the basketball court. And I was like, she's like my idol. Like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I would go home and like pretend to do cheers in my mirror in my living room. I would force my little brother to stunt with me. Like, I'd make him go on me and I'd climb on him in our living room. And so by the time I got into high school, I knew I wanted to do gymnastics. I knew I wanted to tumble. And I had this dream that I was going to be a cheerleader in college one day. And I ended up going to Illinois State University and loving, absolutely falling in love with collegiate cheer. Through those 4 years, I made some of the best friends I've ever made in my entire life. And we ended up doing really well. By the time I got there, they competed for the first time, and we were embarrassing. I don't think we ran a full out before the national stage at UCA. All the way to 4 years later, my senior year, we placed third at UCA College Nationals. We were on
Woo.
ESPN. Like, so during that time at Illinois State, I was getting my bachelor's degree in kinesiology education. So I thought when I graduated, I was done. I was going to coach high school cheer, but I was going to be a PE teacher. I went back home. I had come out already at that point, and I had this really worried point when I was graduating, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to be a teacher for the rest of my life. And I had like this panic attack about it. But I love teaching, so it was weird. I didn't understand what happened. I mean, I'm 48 now, so this is like 26 years later. So, spoiler alert, I wasn't a teacher my whole life. So, I ended up becoming a PE teacher for 3 years. I coached high school cheerleading, loved it. It was so amazing. But after 3 years living where I grew up, it felt stifling. And I got connected at a coaches conference through my friend at that time, Joe Freitag,
Mhm.
with Morton Berg. He just happened to be
Okay.
speaking at that conference, and Joe was like, "Hey, Jeff, um, Morton's this really great guy. Hey, Morton, Jeff's moving to California, San Francisco. And so I call him up 3 months later because he was like, "Yeah, I'll totally give you a job." I was like, "Hey, this is Jeff Benson. I'm calling for Morton Berg. He promised me a job." And I didn't know at that time, but his name's Derek Patterson, amazing human being. And he was like, Morton, he offers everybody a job. And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Okay, come on in." And so, yeah, I came in for an interview and, "Hi, Morton, we met at the IHSA conference." "Yeah, good to see you." "You don't remember me at all." "No, I'm sorry." Fast forward 5 years, I worked at cheerleading.com. It was my first exposure to the all-star industry, which was
Mhm.
baffling coming from high school cheer, especially from Illinois to California. Very different
Mhm.
cheer cultures. There was a lot I loved, a lot I didn't. And so I decided to leave cheer and get my master's degree in counseling psychology. I became a licensed in marriage and family therapist out here in California. I started a private practice working with young adults and families through depression, addiction, anxiety, etc. But I kept my relationships in Illinois and had a tendency to keep going back, whether it be choreography, sometimes it was judging for different cheer organizations still. So I had my foot still in competitive cheer. And all of a sudden, after again 3 to 5 years, stick with something, Jeff. Seriously, like 3 to 5 years, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I realized I wanted to put kinesiology, spear technique, and skills,
Mhm.
because technique's always been a really important piece of what I do with teams. And then finally, the psychology aspect, and put it together to offer something that at that time I really didn't think the cheer industry was promoting or recognizing the importance of. And
Mhm.
that's when I started my company, Mind Body Cheer. And that was over 10 years ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. To your question, eventually to the book, like how did that come about? I'll be honest, I talk a lot about growth mindset, fixed mindset. And having been in the industry long enough, I recognize that if you don't have a world title, summit ring, a collegiate title under a name, people in general, don't
Mhm.
really blink an eye. No one cares. And so I was thinking, like, okay, how do I make myself relevant? I was like, well, mental blocks and psychology. And I mean, I was that coach, and I'm sure we'll get to it, who was not psychologically safe. And I learned and grew and evolved. And so I started writing on block. The walls come tumbling down like 11 years ago. It was January 1st. And I'm like, every single day I will write a little bit in this book. And I went to a coffee shop and wrote every single day, Monday through Friday. 6 months later, I had a manuscript.
It's helped so many people in our industry, just like you said, parents, coaches, gym owners, everyone to just have a better understanding of mental block. I mean, we still live in our little cheer bubble where that word is scary, and it's something that terrifies parents, it terrifies athletes, and it's really that confidence, and so, yeah, I can't wait to talk to you more about all of that mental block stuff, but even before that, can you just kinda give a little rundown of the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset?
Sure. I am going to use the terms developed by Dr. Carol Dweck, the
Mhm,
author of the book Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. So, Dr. Dweck defines mindset as the way in which you view your talent, ability, and intelligence. It's how smart you think you are, how capable you think you are at learning a new skill, or how great you are at something right away. And she would say, based on her research, there are two types of mindsets. One mindset that believes unconsciously, like the shadow thoughts in the back of your mind, that say your talent, ability, and intelligence are limited or fixed. So she would define that as a fixed mindset. We might recognize it in our kids when they don't get something right away and they want to give up.
Mhm.
When our kids compare themselves to others, that's again a fixed mindset. When you believe that giving 100% effort is like embarrassing, like, oh my God, I have to try really hard. Talented people don't need to do that. So that again would be a sample of a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is the belief, conversely, that your talent, ability, and intelligence can grow and improve. I remember when I first started doing this training, I was at World Cup and I was thinking I was going to be all special and smart and I was going to trick everybody. All right, everybody, raise your hand if you think your talent, ability, and intelligence is fixed, meaning you only have so much. And no one had their hand up. And I was like, okay, Jeff. The reality is that this growth mindset, the belief that we can grow and change, I believe everyone believes it. The
Mhm.
hard part is most of us don't live that way. We put these limiting beliefs on ourselves. Just think about starting this podcast. If I were you, I hope you didn't feel this way, but if I were you, I might have the what if nobody listens? What is everyone going to think? Is this going to be success? I know I'm really good at this stuff and I have a lot of great things to say, but what if people critique me and, don't like it or make fun of me? That is a fixed mindset. So the idea here is that our sport, using Dr. Dweck's research, mindset is not singularly, but it is often created by perfectionism and the type of feedback we get or give. We are a fixed minded sport.
Yeah. Chasing perfection. That's what it that is the goal, and we know it's not attainable, but I love that we're touching on this because it's really hard to say that we're supporting growth mindset, but at the same time, we are everything that we're living and breathing is all about that fixed mindset. So
Yeah.
how can we support our athletes better to build that growth mindset from day 1?
First is just the education of what a growth mindset is, a fixed mindset, and acknowledge for people like you and I who have been in this industry for decades.
Mhm.
I mean, y'all, I'm 48, so I've been in gymnastics and cheer, both fixed minded sports, for well over 30 years. My neural pathways are going to be burned in this desire to be perfect, to highlight or magnify mistakes. I mean, think about it. Like when we see bad technique, how we're like, our brains light up like that is do or die. It's like
Mhm.
death inside. Think of how many of us want to hit zero.
Mhm.
Sorry, love you all. It's still a fixed minded goal. So, to your great question, so what do? We have to educate ourselves, then be aware when we're using that fixed mindset. And three, understand that because we are a fixed minded sport, we want to do as often as we can the opposite. So, let's use an example. In our gym, we might have the bell when an athlete gets a new skill.
Mhm.
Totally get it, love it, not going to tell you to stop. But fixed mindset is supported by focusing on the end goal.
Mhm.
I just got done with a cheer camp, and one of the things I explained to the athletes is outcome goal versus a process goal. Outcome goals are like our X marks the spot in a maze. It's what we all
Mhm.
want, we strive for. Winning a competition, hitting zero, getting a new skill, being front and center flyer, get a double, whatever you want. Those are all
Mhm.
outcome based goals. The thing about based goals, even though they're fixed minded, we don't actually have direct control over them. right? So,
Yep.
Megan, when you know this, you're a phenomenal coach because you care about your kids and the well being of who they are, but you also focus on details. You know, at the end of the day, I don't control the kids on my team.
Mhm.
I mean, we'd love to, right?
Yeah.
We'd love to
Yes.
control the judges.
Yes.
We'd love to control the other teams we compete against. I often make the joke, like, how great would it be if we could use like blowhorns and marbles to play like offense, defense,
Yep.
so that we could impact our opponents, but we don't get to do that. So just embracing those are the parameters of our sport. What we want to then do is offer as much of the opposite as well. So using that example of ringing the bell, do we celebrate the process that kid made to get that bell rung more so than the bell?
Yep.
Do
The
we?
showing up every day, yes. The coming
Exactly
into the
right.
gym when it's hot, the controllables. I
That's
think
exactly,
that's one of the best things that you taught me was
yeah.
the controllables, and then it needs to be reflected in the way we handle parent meetings, the way we handle going to an event and not doing our best, but we did show up and tried and didn't give up on it, and yeah, that kind of outcome, like you're saying, based versus the process is the prize, and I love that. I love that so much. That's great. And so what are some ways that we can talk to our kids in building and growing and developing that growth mindset?
At a gym, we might have a kid ring a bell, fixed minded. So, what do we want to do? We want to praise the process, maybe even like talking about, well, how did you get to ring the bell? What did you do? Just so the kid is working on the, oh, I had to do all of these steps to ring the bell. That's why I rung the bell. If I'm a parent, I'm imagining when we post the video of our kid getting a new skill,
Mhm,
this is not meant as a judgment, but that is fixed minded, posting that
mhm,
video of the new skill. So, how do we do the growth minded? I am so proud of Kinsley for showing up every day. Um, this skill does not reflect you don't get to see the bottom of the
mhm,
iceberg. You don't get to see the
mhm,
tears. You don't get to see the strength and conditioning she's been doing at home. That,
mhm.
honey, is why you threw that today, and that is why I'm so proud of you.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's like the
That's
Facebook
so good.
post. But what I would
Yeah.
do as a parent in that moment is getting to talk with them. Hey, Kinsley, how do you feel about throwing your full today? I feel good. Okay, why do you feel good? Well, I finally got my full. What do you mean you finally got your full? Well, it took me forever. So I'm being reflective. I
Yeah.
hear that you're kind of frustrated that it took you a while to get your full. Yeah, it took me forever. Um, Brindley got it faster than me.
Mhm,
Oh, so I hear that you're disappointed because you weren't able to do it as quickly as someone else.
mhm.
It sounds almost like there's a rain cloud over your special moment. And so, in this, if you haven't caught on, or if I could have done a better job of explaining growth mindset, I named like five red flags of fixed mindset in that like
Mhm.
1 minute example. Press rewind, everybody, and listen back
Yeah.
so that we as a parent don't go, stop, stop, no, no. We just allow our kids to be where they are and introduce the other way. Really quick, really proud of my little daughter. She's turning 16 today.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Yeah, happy birthday, Haley. Little shout out to my daughter. So she yesterday wanted to go for ice cream. We often do this because I adore and love ice cream and all things
Mhm,
sugar. And she was like, "Hey, can we go for ice cream to celebrate my finishing of the first semester of summer school for my history class?" And she wrote back immediately, "Not to celebrate the A I got, but for my hard work and choosing to do a summer school class." And my
Love it.
husband, he's in Australia right now, so I was telling him about this, and he was like, Man, she has your number, Jeff. I'm like, I don't care if she's parenting it. That's the first step
Awesome.
to like stamping that growth mindset, just the awareness. I am proud of you for not the A. I'm proud of you that you wanted to do summer school, that
Mhm,
because it was hard. There were 2 days she cried because she was behind on assignments and she didn't give up. She didn't stop. She found
mhm.
a way to calm herself down. She caught herself back up. She didn't blame the fact that we went on vacation. She took accountability. That is why we wanted to celebrate the end of a semester.
That's amazing. And so what can an athlete do to support that growth mindset?
One of the biggest red flags of fixed mindset that I see are athletes who avoid being uncomfortable. I often talk about uncomfortable or emotions like a stoplight. We have those green light emotions, which we all love. We have good emotions. We have that tumbling skill that feels good and easy. But
Mhm,
we also have those emotions like a stoplight that are red light, the ones where we see up ahead and we're like, it's gonna take forever to get there. They're then
mhm,
not. We don't love these feelings. We don't love anger. We don't love rage. We don't love overwhelm. We
mhm,
don't love panic, red light emotions. What I am noticing often, because we're a fixed minded sport, that yellow light emotion, nervous, confused,
mhm,
unsure, frustrated, a lot of athletes, especially in individual skills, they have a tendency at yellow light. If it's not going to be perfect, I avoid it.
mhm,
And that is usually the biggest limiter I see in cheer. So,
mhm,
to that very helpful question, what can I do as an athlete? Just notice when you're feeling yellow light and start to check the negative thought or story in your head,
mhm,
then check it with these two questions. Is this thought true? Is this thought helpful? And if you
love it.
notice that it's either not true or not helpful or both, change it to something that is. And then what I can do as a coach is high five you, called anchoring, a way to burn in our brain that growth mindset. I'm so proud of you, not for throwing the skill,
Mhm,
outcome goal. I'm so proud of you for catch, check, change, using a strategy to calm yourself, not listening to that automatic negative voice in your head, asking me for help. Listen to like how many more things there are to be proud of than like I threw it.
yeah. And just implementing that, what you're saying right there, into our
Yep.
practices,
Yep.
I mean, as a coach too, to be able to kinda see those moments and then help them kind of redirect to exactly like you're saying. I love that. I love that so much. So how do you define a mental block? Everybody wants to stamp it on things and then they're
Mm.
scared and it's a really scary word in
Yeah.
cheerleading, I feel. So but what is a mental block?
I define a mental block is I had a skill with near perfection. So excellent technique and form. I often use the language, I owned the skill. You can't own a skill if you haven't performed it in many places,
Mhm.
multiple competition venues. Let me give you an example. I might have an excellent technique to round off back handspring tuck, but if I haven't done it under pressure and
Yeah.
duress, you can't say you own the skill yet. You still worked hard, you gave a good effort, you used
Mhm.
strategies. It's beautiful because you have really focused on great set, good shaping, but you don't own it. You're still renting the skill, and the rent's
Mhm.
due every day, girl. All right.
Yes,
So
yes.
A,
Preach.
excellent technique and form. You performed it in many different places in front of hundreds of people thousands of times before. And now that skill, your brain won't let you throw it.
Mhm,
That's a mental block. Anything less than that is just part of the learning process.
Oh,
Is it
yes.
frustrating? Yeah, it's awful. It is heart-wrenching. Do you get to feel sad? Totally. Do you get to feel frustrated? Yeah. Does this mean that your brain is broken? No.
Mhm.
But when you put this limiting belief that you're actually a part of the learning process, but you think there's something way worse going on, you actually create self-fulfilling prophecy. I have seen it so many times. You own a back handspring, but you're renting a tuck. You come into the gym one day, you're not throwing the tuck. Coach gets mad. You get frustrated. Mom and dad on the car ride home talk about the private lessons. It is just a poop storm of emotions,
Yeah.
and it's not a mental block yet. But
Mhm.
because we don't stop the process and educate ourselves, now usually what happens is I don't get the message until my kid is no longer doing a back walkover. And the mental block was caused by the overreaction of a very normal cycle and process called the learning process.
Mic drop. This is the best part of this episode, I think, that everybody needs to hear. I mean, there's so many great things you've already shared, but this is huge. Okay, so a kid is struggling, just like you're saying. They've had this skill, and I think it circles back too to that's why we try not to post immediately when like new skill, because that next day they may come in and struggle with it. Like because it just is part of it. Today it feels great and I can do it by myself on the floor. Tomorrow now I might want to spot again or be nervous. And so I think that circles
Totally
back
fine.
into
Yep.
that and I love that. I love that part. But when a kid, let's say exactly what you said, is kind of renting this tuck and then starts to struggle with it and they're crying, they leave the gym, they're upset. Number one, best way that we can support them as a parent.
One, empathy. Number one, and this is the shepherd parenting approach, which essentially says, I don't need my child to be the way I want them to be. I want to show up for my child for who they are. And I want to
Mhm.
create the environment for them to get to grow and blossom into who they are. Let me slow that down. I share that because that's my value system. So I'm not saying this with judgment. I'm
Mhm.
just sharing this as my value system. So if you are like, oh, but I like that, that's what I want, shepherd parenting, which is the recipe card. When my child is struggling and they're sad, I reflect back empathy. It sounds like you're really upset. And that makes sense. You have worked really hard. You've done countless private lessons. And then now today, all of a sudden, you can't do it. I get why you're so sad. So now the hardest part comes to it's called mirror neurons. So any parent, I say this and you're like, yeah, totally do that. But when we're in front of our children, there's this wonderful, but like, oh, so frustrating part of our brain that helps us be human. But it is wired and it's in our brain from our ancestors to help us be connected to our kids. They're called mirror neurons, which means we can feel what our kids are feeling. So even though we have a fully formed prefrontal cortex that tells us this is a small snapshot in our child's life, their big red light emotions trigger our red light emotions. We overreact. And it might be A, you're fine, stop crying, it's just cheer, fixed mindset, FYI. B, oh my gosh, honey, no, no, it's fine. Shh. You're okay. Stop crying. Stop. Fixed mindset. Or I can't believe that you're not throwing your tuck. I've spent countless hours, blah, 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 blah. Fixed mindset. I've been there. Like, if we need to do all the things Jeff has done wrong as a parent so that you understand I'm not casting judgment, we got a
Yes.
list. We can call in the 16-year-old if you
Yeah.
want.
I truly believe every parent, it comes from a good place. All of those scenarios that you're saying, it's it's not that mom or dad or anyone wants to hurt their child, wants to produce a fixed mindset, and that circles back to why you are so important to the industry, and that the things that you were sharing, we all need to hear, and because we want to be the best we can for our children. I am a mom of athletes and cheerleading athletes and non-cheerleading athletes, and, like, I want to be the best, and some of the things that you're saying, I know I've made those mistakes along the way, we all have. But the important thing is that we can learn and grow and then see how we can better support them, and I think those passion blinders, it's the what we call them because 'cause you're supposed to feel that way. So the number one mistake as a parent, like the thing that you should avoid, the threatening of, "I pay so much for the lesson," or "You're not gonna make the senior 4 team," those kinda things. Are those the worst thing to do, I'm assuming?
They are. They are,
Mhm,
and I talk a lot about impact intent.
mhm,
The intent of us parents, let me go with, if you don't make level 4 this season, you're not cheering.
mhm,
Let's go back. My guess is you're a parent who works really hard. Cheer is really expensive. This
mhm,
is going to be the third season they're on level 3. So you're looking at your investment as not producing what you're trying to put out. The intent is, I'm just trying to help my kid understand, like, money is time and it's valuable, and I don't see you moving up. So it, to me, you're not giving enough effort. But the impact of that conversation is actually, you're not skilled enough. So you're not worth paying that money.
mhm,
I'm wasting my money on you.
mhm. I love to tell the story of how I mean, I can tell a bunch of times
Yeah.
because 'cause I've just reached out to you recently, with
Mhm.
struggles with, like, what
Mhm.
how should I handle this? And it's things with school or my expectation is A, B, and C, and I mean, I lean on you a lot, and I'm forever grateful, but I love to tell the story in my parent meetings of Kingsley, my first daughter in the gym, growing up there, loving it, being in the gym every single day, and we had the Barbie dream house in the corner of the room, and you taught me this big piece about my own ego. So we have the Barbie dream house. There's unlimited classes, unlimited things that she can take part of. And she's sitting in the Barbie dream house. And I try to, rewrite the story in my mind that, like, I want Kingsley to be grateful. Kids would do anything to have all these classes. I want her to be driven. I want her to be a hard worker. And truly, she just was having fun and loved the Barbie dream house. And anyone that knows Kingsley knows she's driven, she's hardworking, she loves the sport of cheer. And she's great, and, and she is in things and very dedicated. But at the time, I was trying to rewrite that narrative to kind of the way my ego was feeling, that she wasn't like, why is she not taking part in the classes? All these other kids are her age. Everybody else is doing A, B, and C. And you shifted that for me to let her just kind of do it on her own. And when she was ready, like you told me, she was in everything and she was busting her butt and just, all of those qualities did
Yeah.
kind of come to fruition. But yeah, I love to tell that story because I was that same parent, and trying to make it sound good though in my head, like trying to come up with a better way to look at it. So, yeah, that really made a difference for me as a parent. Okay, so with this confidence kind of in this learning process of not being able to throw a skill right away, what is the best way that a teammate can support that child?
There are two types of ways that we respond as a human. So if we're talking mental blocks, I'm at yellow light uncomfortable. Some athletes are at yellow light uncomfortable and they what I call gas pedal. So just go back to the metaphor of driving. The light turns yellow and I speed up to make it through it. What that
Mhm.
would look like is the athlete who stands there for a really long time and they're like, no, let me do it again. I can do it. And they ignore all the warning signs that their nervous system is sending them, like, we need a tool.
Mhm.
Slow down. Something's wrong. Our body is going to turn up the volume until we listen to it. So that habit of gas pedaling is a limiter for many athletes. The opposite is also true. There are many athletes who, when they hit that yellow light, they avoid any time it's uncomfortable. I don't tumble on the tumble track. I don't do cartwheel back handsprings.
Mhm.
I have this belief of like no, and when you I call this breaker action. When you have this breaker action, what you're doing is stamping in your red brain or your amygdala limiting beliefs. And
Mhm.
so it creates more fear later. So, how can a teammate help?
Mhm.
When I am in yellow light, it is harder for me to have access to all my tools. I talked about prefrontal cortex. Sometimes in camps, to keep it simple, I call it blue brain. It's where we have our tools, problem solving, where we communicate. It's where we goal set. When our
Mhm.
blue brain or prefrontal cortex is totally on and we're at like green light, everybody has all the tools that they've learned up until this point in your life. So it's easy at green light to make good choices. But when I go to yellow light, my red brain is starting to turn on. Red brain, amygdala is all about your fear center. It's life or death, fight, flight, freeze. So when I'm at yellow light and I like have my blue brain kind of on, I've got maybe a tool or two, but my red brain is on and I'm thinking of the worst case scenario. It is helpful when I have a green light or a blue brain teammate reminding me of tools,
Mhm.
supporting me because connection is blue brain, hand on my
Okay.
shoulder. Jeff, I love you. I see you, but you've been standing there for 10 seconds. Hey, let's go take a walk.
Mhm.
Lay, let's go do some punch real quick.
Yep.
We didn't talk about the brain science behind that, but what that does is helps reset or recalibrate the neurochemicals that are going through our body that is causing that freeze response.
Yep.
And real quick, this is why I love mental blocks, everybody. If you're a coach, gym owner,
Mhm.
apply this to all parts of cheer. Ignore the word mental block. It doesn't even need to exist. Like it can, because there are some kids who are really struggling and need extra help, but like fear, that stunt group has fear. They're not hitting, everyone else is hitting. So what would I do? The same tools I talk about in Unblocked.
Yep.
You got three rules. One, never go above a three. If they're at a four and they're snapping at each other,
Yep.
their red brains are on, their teammates need support, connection.
Mhm.
Hey, walk away, get a drink of water. If a
Mhm.
stunt doesn't hit three times, like it falls, they need a ladder step, a tool, a connection, something to help them fix why it's falling over and over again. Because if a
Mhm.
stunt is falling 20 times in a row, quick coaches, all of you who are reaching out to me, my team can hit in practice, but they can't hit on the cheer floor.
Yep.
How many times have your kids fallen first?
Mhm.
And when they fall, how did you and they respond? Screaming, yelling, disappointment, frustration, or complete opposite, indifference. So they're either fours or fives or orange light or green light. What's going to happen when they hit the cheer floor and it's yellow? They're not going to know how to do it. So cheer practices have to be yellow light, not the whole time, but there
Yeah.
does need to be that discomfort
Yes.
in order to be able to then hit that routine at yellow light on the cheer floor.
Absolutely. And then so as a coach, what is the one thing you wish they knew to better support these athletes? I know like just thinking in my mind right now of that they need to know that they're not letting you down. I know the first thing when a kid is struggling with a skill in a routine that I can say, "I'm not worried. You're good. We're good. Like it's okay. We're going to work through it. We're going to get through these things. Like it's all good." I think a lot of times that they feel so much pressure not only from their parents, not only from their peers, but from their coach. What are some tools for a coach to either of course, I always like to say, like, make sure that you don't only have that number of kids to throw a skill because you could go through things in a situation. So we're never just relying on those 10 kids. We make sure we've got those buffers for injuries, for things like confidence. I think that's like one that we try to instill in our program. But what's something that, you would tell to a coach when that kid is struggling to do?
So which you're pretty wise, but
I
how many
appreciate
of you, if your numbers are 10 for tumbling, have 12? So
it.
you
Mhm.
have the buffer when that
Mhm.
kid has a rough day, hard practice, so you have that plus two or the
Mhm.
extra. What that does so much, one, it keeps your lid on. Now it's not life or death to you, knowing you won't make the rubric range if every single kid doesn't throw a skill. So you're
Absolutely.
going to be more supportive.
Mhm.
Shepherd coaching versus engineer coaching, I have just the bare minimum. So it does feel like life or death when you're not throwing it. So I'm more likely to red brain on you. So
Mhm.
that would be in that
No,
scenario
yeah. That's great.
how you can use that strategy. Have a little bit extra. Let's now do the opposite. I didn't do that. So the first thing I would do with that athlete, though I'm going to feel red brain, and it might be catch, check, change. The thought
Mhm.
in my brain is the parents are going to be really mad at me. We're going to not lose. We're going to be at a disadvantage,
Mhm.
all because this one athlete is choosing not to throw the skill. Once I calm down and I catch, check, change those thoughts that are
Mhm.
not helpful, I would this is a long process, but in general, it would be, hey, what's going on? I don't
Mhm.
know. That's what's, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would imagine when our red brain flips, it usually flips because there's a negative thought. Hey, what are the thoughts that are swirling? I don't know. I don't know. I can't throw it. I don't know why.
Mhm.
I'd grab their hands. Remember, connection helps the blue brain on.
Mhm.
Grab their hands. I take a deep breath with them. I get it. This feels overwhelming. I don't know. I just can't do it. Instead of let's just breathe together. What I'm doing right now is called co-regulation. It helps me calm down and them calm down. Coaches, you're responsible for doing it because you have a fully formed prefrontal cortex. I feel this is really overwhelming, but honey, this is like one moment in time. One moment. I get it. It doesn't feel like your brain is working. Your brain is overwhelmed right now because our lid is flipped. Let's try and get our lid back on, and we're going to do that by breathing. And we breathe and we breathe and we breathe. We're not trying to solve it yet. You can't solve it. Apply this, coaches. Parents, think about this. Rewind. Don't try and solve a problem at red light. Don't make decisions at red light. So when your kid comes home and cries and wants to quit cheer, that is not when we decide to quit cheer.
And that circles back to why we met in the beginning,
Yeah.
because I brought you out to my gym. I had to go look it up, but it was 2016 was the
Mhm.
first time you came up to New Hampshire, and like most gym owners, or not, maybe not most, hopefully not most, but like some gym owners, the culture in my program was really struggling, and it was my parent culture. I was a young gym owner myself, and, parents were really tough on me then. I always felt like they were talking about me, which they were behind my back. They were sneaking around. They were being manipulative. I was trying to get them to focus on all the things that were important to me that, like, yes, I wanted to get a summit bid at the end of the season. And the same way that we say to parents, the passion blinders, us as coaches, we really do want to make them proud. I mean, I can tell you, I am not trying to make my parents upset or to let them down or to not get the skills that their children want or to win the championships. Like, I want them to love me and believe in me and be proud of me, 100%, and I come from a good place. But like I said, our culture was really struggling, and it was that parent piece that I didn't feel like people trusted my heart and believed that I was coming from a good place. So we brought you in, and we still joke about your, kind of analogy of you're driving down the road, beep, beep, stay in your lane when that car is crossing over. We still circle back to that, so many years later. But we brought you in to do this parent seminar. It was free. And gym owners, like, please, this is something that you need if you are struggling with that culture piece, or even getting your parents on board with the growth mindset and versus that fixed mindset. But you came in and put on this free seminar for my parents that was life-changing, because our culture now is something we're very proud of, and it is something for sure that you, in talking to our coaches and our parents, changed the game for us. So, intentional culture is so important. It's something we feel, right? It's not something you see, it's something that you feel, and it's something that you need to work towards every day. And with the right culture, I think that struggles like the mental blocks or like the confidence issues or the performance anxiety, with the right culture, those things become easier. So, what advice would you give? Just something right away that we can do to help build intentional culture within our programs.
So intentional culture is what you feel, what you see, and it's the process and systems you use.
Mhm.
When I partner with gyms to do this long-term intentional culture work, the number one piece is setting intentional core values. Because what it does is creates the roadmap and a structure for everyone, the triad, the parent, the athlete, and the coach. All three are held to the same level of value. I
Mhm.
often share, if you come to my house, you're going to see all our shoes are lined up by the door. I just yesterday, a friend of mine came over and first question, "Oh, do you want me to take off my shoes?" Yes. When you are in my gym, these are our values. And yes, parents, you take off your shoes or focus on communication because that's one of our core values. So for us, communication in our gym is positively sharing thoughts and ideas in a respectful way.
And so now, so obviously you are the guru when it comes to all things mental blocks. We've used you, and you do it not only in person but virtually. You're able to work with athletes and work with parents and work with coaches and gym owners, and that's so special and wonderful. But what else are you kind of offering with this mind body cheer kind of gig? Like what else can people utilize you for aside from mental block training, and obviously your culture building programs, but what else can they reach out to you for?
I mean, really, all things cheer.
Mhm.
But a lot of it is the intentional culture piece because in intentional culture, it's the umbrella that catches everything. It catches what do we do when there's a mental block. It catches what do we do when a parent's uh, intent is to support their kid, but the impact is it's eroding the team dynamic. Reaching out if there is one of our teams is really struggling to hit a routine on the cheer floor. What are your core values? Do you
Mhm.
have excellence as a core value? No, we have fun, friendship, and memories. Okay, but what do your practices look like? A lot of
Mhm.
fun, a lot of talking, not a lot of focus on excellence. So when we're in a yellow light situation, if everything's green light in practice, you're gonna fall. And that's okay, but you can't say you want this goal, but have these actions that aren't aligned. I call it dissonance or incongruence. So having big umbrella, intentional culture where the owner, gym manager, the top of the pyramid, you set the standard. So as if you as a gym owner are the first to point fingers, don't be
Mhm.
surprised when the finger gets pointed back at you.
I say that all the time, especially like the keyboard warriors. If we're a gym owner that's gonna be bashing everybody and negative about every situation, that a comp doesn't run on time or something was off, and if we are those constantly negative people, that yeah, it reflects to the people that we lead, that they have those same behaviors. And yeah, I love talking about that a lot, when I'm on the road speaking at conferences as well. So I love that you touched on that too. If people have not heard from you, they need to. They need to read your book, and you have a second book out. Do you
So
wanna give a little shout
it's the
of the
second
second book?
edition. It's just the second
Okay.
edition. I mean, that's very fixed minded. I have a second edition of the first book. It is, the more evolved, better systems. It was 10 years ago when I wrote Unblocked. So
Yeah.
Unblocked 2, the walls come tumbling down. But I do, real quick, I'm super excited. I have 3 workbooks that I've been working on for 6 years to fix
Awesome.
or fill the gap for the athletes piece. It's like in the
Mhm.
works, but this is, I think, the first time publicly I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I am going to be partnering with somebody and creating a fictional book on culture. And so it'll essentially be like 40 little lessons. Think of all the little terms I'm using,
Yeah.
written in a fictional way of a team following
I
their
love that.
season using these mental skills trainings.
Oh,
And
I can't wait to read it.
my hope
I'm so
is it
proud
will
of you.
give people a guide. Thank you. Give people a guide and a fun way to talk about culture in a
Yes.
way that resonates with your athletes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Okay, so how can people find you, follow you? You are always putting out these amazing graphics. I don't know if you're making those or, how you're coming up with all this great stuff, but it's wonderful things that gym owners, parents, coaches can share.
Yeah.
Also to kind of reinforce the importance of that growth mindset, and really, I love the way that you challenge us. I know I said it in the beginning, but you're not
Mm.
afraid to challenge us to
Yeah.
say, "I know you have good intentions, but
Not
it's not
working.
serving your athletes in a positive and supportive way for later
Yeah.
on." For the bigger picture, which everything we're about here is the athlete becoming a great human.
That's it.
Like and the vehicle is sports, and I love all sports, and I love what it teaches. Cheerleading is my favorite sport because I think it can do all those great things, all those qualities.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how can they follow you, find you?
So, Mind Body Cheer on Instagram. You can always check out my website, mindbodycheer.com, if you're interested in some of the resources I have that are virtual things. And you can reach out to me at mindbodycheer@gmail.com if you want more information and speak with me directly.
Yes. Okay, and then where can they get the book?
Book is on Amazon, everybody.
Okay, on
This
the
little
Zon.
website, you might like be aware of it. Yeah, Amazon.com. The book is unblocked. The walls come tumbling down.
I love that. Thank you so much,
Yeah, my
truly.
pleasure.
I
Thank you
I've
for
learned
having me. It's an
I've
honor.
learned a lot today. I mean, and
Yep.
I feel so connected and close to you as in on a personal sense. And again, the ways that you've helped me become a better mom and a gym owner and a coach, it's changed everything and it's changed my impact on the kids that I coach. And so I'm eternally grateful. And I know
Thank
that
you.
everyone is going to love hearing from you on this episode. So,
Yeah, I hope.
friends, you know the deal. Please make sure you're subscribing. Tune in every Tuesday to our episodes. We so appreciate the support. And again, thank you, Jeff Benson. You're
Yeah,
one
you're
in a
welcome.
million, and
Thanks.
I'm so lucky to call you my friend.
Yes.
All
Love you
right,
so
I'll see you
much.
soon.
Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you.
Bye, everybody.